Kika, it says you can release your video order here. Do I need to do anything or am I good?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Yes. Carl, you are live.
Thank you. Greetings and welcome to Planting Seeds of Hope, a multi-generational conversation on empowering girls, hosted by the Parliament of the World's Religions Next Generation Task Force. The Parliament of the World's Religions was created to cultivate harmony among the world's religions and spiritual communities and foster their engagement with the world and its guiding institutions in order to achieve a just, peaceful, and sustainable world. The Next Generation Task Force is an international working group working toward the development of inclusive, action-oriented programming at the Parliament of the World's Religions and within the global interfaith movement. My name is Carl Morell. I am a member of the Board of Directors of the Parliament, and I am the United States Baha'i United Nations representative. I'll introduce each of our speakers before they speak, and our first speaker today is Dolly Dastoor, a widely published research clinical psychologist who specializes in the assessment of dementias. Most recently was clinical administrative chief at the Program in Dementia and Psychiatric Comorbidity. Pronounce that word, Dolly?
Comorbidity.
Comorbidity at the Douglas Mental Health University Institute in Montreal, an assistant professor in psychiatry at McGill University. She serves as a member of the Board of Trustees of the Parliament and co-chair of the Parliament's Women's Task Force. She is a member of the Montreal Council of Women and Zanta International. Welcome, Dolly. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Carl, for this lovely introduction. And thank you very much, everybody who is attending this very inspirational panel and seminar from all over the world. October 11th marks the United Nations observance of the International Day of the Girl Child to recognize the rights of girls and the unique challenges girls face around the world. The International Day of the Girl Child focuses attention on the needs to address the challenges, to promote their empowerment, and for the fulfillment of the human rights. The Women's Task Force of the Parliament of World Religions was established to support women's leadership and programming at and between the Parliament convenings and at critical institutions. The Women's Task Force seeks to create opportunities for women from a broad range of religious and spiritual traditions to engage with each other in interfaith conversations, inspirations, and actions that seek to enhance the well-being, dignity, and human rights of women of all faiths. 5 years ago today, at the 2015 convention of the Parliament of World's Religions in Salt Lake City, people of faith and spirituality gathered for the inaugural Women's Assembly to address two critical issues. One, the responsibility of the world's religions to affirm women's dignity and human rights. And two, to share sources of religious and spiritual inspirations for women's empowerment. A critical aspect of this work is the empowerment and education of the next generation and the critical importance of intergenerational work in affirming the dignity and human rights of women. On behalf of the Women's Task Force of the Parliament, the Next Generation Task Force has gathered this intergenerational panel on the empowerment of girls, and we reaffirm a continued commitment to the human rights and empowerment of the girl child across religious traditions. And we reaffirm the critical work of women of all ages in fostering a more just, peaceful, and sustainable world. Now, to give you some startling statistics, did you know that only 18% of biographical subjects and 9% of the editors on Wikipedia are women? As part of the commitment of the Women's Task Force has partnered with the 1,000 Women in Religion, a major initiative of the American Academy of Religion and the Women's Caucus of the Society of Biblical Literature. This project aims to address the unrecognized work of all women and transgender women in the world's religious, spiritual, and wisdom traditions by adding 1,000+ women in religion onto the Wikipedia website. On Thursday, October 22nd, please join the Women's Task Force of the Parliament, who will be hosting a special editathon where participants will sign up as wiki editors, create their personal user page, learn the basics of editing, and make their first wiki edits. Will you join us in our efforts to address gender bias on Wikipedia by improving the coverage of women in religion on the Wikipedia website? Girls are breaking boundaries and barriers posed by stereotypes and exclusions, including those living in marginalized communities. Girls are creating a world that is relevant for them and future generations. Empowering girls and women and promoting gender equality is crucial to accelerating sustainable development. It is not only a basic human right, but it also has a multiple effect across all other development areas. If actively supported, girls and adolescents have the potential to change the world, both as empowered girls of today, but also as tomorrow's workers, mothers, entrepreneurs, mentors, head of household, and political leaders. I wish all the girls of the world a happy International Day. Go forth, girls, and claim the world as your own. Thank you very much.
That was wonderful, Dolly. Thank you so much. And I look forward to the Wikipedia event that
Yeah, you can join us. It's for men also.
I absolutely will. That's great. Our next speaker is Sagri Singh, Dr. Sagri Singh, who is the Senior Advisor of Gender and Development at UNICEF, Senior Advisor of Gender Equality and Development, where she provides strategic management and technical guidance on gender-responsive programming to achieve results for women and children. Sagri supports the implementation of UNICEF's Gender Action Plan as it relates to promoting, excuse me, I lost my screen, as it relates to promoting gender equality in health, HIV, nutrition, and education outcomes for children, as well as on adolescent girls' empowerment and well-being, specifically in the areas of health, HIV, nutrition, ending child marriage, and secondary education and skills, and the intersections between them. That's a lot, but absolutely needed those intersections to be addressed. Thank you, Dr. Singh. You have the floor.
So good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to everybody. And thank you so much, Carl, for that introduction. It's such a pleasure to be here with everybody. And particularly, I want to thank the organizers for having me on this very important panel and with these amazing women leaders, young and of all ages, to really bring the power of girls' empowerment to the stage. Girls' empowerment to me means many different things. It means girls with power, girls aspiring, girls acting, girls really interacting with their communities, with their brothers, with their male peers, to make sure that there is a gender equal world, that there are equal opportunities. And as Dolly said, as we celebrate the International Day of the Girl, which now is not just a day, but almost a month in some ways, with the theme, My Voice in Our Equal Future, we are amplifying girl-led solutions and movements, and in doing so, really living the empowerment in action phrase. Most girls we know don't grow up in a world of opportunity, but they build them. And in UNICEF, where we work in over 119 countries around the world, we are committed to supporting girls as part of our mandate to make sure that every boy, every girl, every child, whether 5 or 15, has an equal opportunity to learn, be healthy, and safe. Our commitment to all children and to leaving no child behind is based on the principle of human rights and a child rights approach enshrined in the Convention on the Rights of the Child. I thought I might use this opportunity to share with you some key points, building on what Dolly has said as well. I'm not sure how I go to the next slide, unfortunately. Please excuse me because I'm realizing that I'm not very good at this.
Our screen.
Can you see the screen okay? Okay.
Yeah. And
So
you can click on the slide if you want to go to the next slide.
Oh, great. Okay, just on the slide.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So thank you. So the first point is girls' diversity of voices and solutions are really leading the change toward a more equal world. And we all around the world, and including on this panel, support and celebrate these as well as those participants. We know that adolescent girls are diverse, and the diversity is our strength, whether it's through geography, ethnicity, race, age, sexuality. We know that girl and girl-led movements are tackling key issues, climate change, child marriage prevention, equal opportunity in education and learning, and even mental health, as Dolly has alluded to. And more importantly, as entrepreneurs and innovators, girls are leading and fostering a world that is relevant for them, for their generation, all of us, and for the future generations. I wanted to use this opportunity to have you meet Belen, 16, from Ecuador. I wanted to share her story, her path to becoming a community leader that began at the age of 12 when she joined a children and adolescent group in her village. She has been able to not only speak out and prevent bullying related to wearing her traditional dress, as well as with her youth group, really provided opportunities to look for alternatives for marketplaces so that women can sell their products when the suppliers and the buyers of those products due to COVID have had to reduce their prices and limit their purchases. This is an example of a UNICEF-supported initiative really working in collaboration with girls and communities to help young people raise their voices and be heard. This, to me, is empowerment in action. I then want to sort of feed back a second point, which is that while many of our girls today and the generation of adolescent girls are living with the successes, whether it's in education, in health, in nutrition, we know, however, that progress has been uneven and girls continue to face significant gaps compared to boys, as well as the long-standing harmful gender norms and stereotypes that limit their opportunities. 2 in 3 girls of secondary school age are enrolled in secondary school compared to only 1 in 2 in 1998. However, at least in 20 countries, hardly any poor rural young women complete upper secondary school. In high HIV prevalence settings, every year spent in school reduces a girl's risk for HIV by 6 to 12%. Yet every day, 350 adolescent girls are infected with HIV, which is 3 times more than their peers, their male peers. Nearly 1 in 4 girls aged 15 to 19 is neither employed nor in education or training compared to 1 in 10 boys of the same age. So in the words of Ahed, who's 18 years old, featured here from the Zatari refugee camp, we girls are capable, she says. We need your support to stand with us. Don't deprive us of the right to achieve our dreams and continue our education. She is raising her voice for empowerment for herself and for girls. And she is part of UNICEF's economic engagement program that's in Jordan, run through 140 Makani centers in collaboration with various partners to deliver equitable, safe learning, skill building opportunities and protection services for girls and boys. A third point is around to thrive, innovate, create, contribute, and just be, adolescent girls have the right to and demand a life free of violence, both within and outside the home. This is really important because if girls fear for their safety, they cannot realize their potential or engage in the opportunities that might be available to them. We know, for instance, 13 million girls aged 15 to 19 have experienced violence. We know in schools, Girls are more likely to experience verbal and sexual harassment and abuse compared to boys. The rise of technology brings forth further threats from cyber stalking and harassment, yet technology provides incredible opportunities for girls. I wanted to bring your attention to work that UNICEF does, working closely with communities to facilitate the dialogues and commitment to promoting investments in girls and girls' empowerment. And we see that in Niger, through community dialogues, together with religious and traditional leaders, there was a strong commitment to end child marriage, set up awareness-raising teams to prevent GBV, gender-based violence, undertake radio debates to raise awareness, and really build in the idea of schooling for girls and building awareness. Of course, none of this is possible if we don't speak to the COVID-19 pandemic that has disrupted the lives and opportunities of millions of people around the world, but particularly that of women and girls. We know about 10 million more secondary school-age girls could be out of school following the crisis. And the greatest surge in child marriage rates in 25 years is happening, with 2.5 million additional girls could be at risk of marriage by 2025. While the COVID-19 pandemic threatens to roll back decades of gains, the disruption allows us an opportunity as the world to build back better. UNICEF is joining with many stakeholders, including girls themselves, to address the crisis and use this opportunity to reimagine our world. Building back better schools so they're responsive and supportive of the needs of girls and marginalized groups, supporting learnings in ways that best suit girls where they are located with the skills needed to succeed and for them in the forefront in solutions, supporting violence prevention and mitigation efforts by working with communities and leaders, and especially the role of interfaith groups and religious leaders is no more important than in this space of empowerment. I wanted to sort of share with you Seba, who's on the right, who's 18 years old, and her best friend Bianca. They have been doing an internship with a key health agency organization in South Africa, and they speak of what that has meant to them in terms of both building their confidence, but giving them the types of skills they need to be not only successful in their work, but also in their personal lives. Both these girls are participants in the Techno Girl program, which is a UNICEF-supported program for girls from grades 9 to 11. And Techno Girls strengthen girls' learning in technical fields such as science, mathematics, technology, and engineering, so that they are trained to be able to participate in the world of tomorrow. And finally, I want to close to ask each one of us as stakeholders and members in our families, communities, professional and social networks to commit to supporting and empowering girls. I'm so excited to hear about the various initiatives that Dolly has already noted around Wikipedia on making sure that the next generation of young women are no longer starting on the back foot, but are starting on equal footing with their male peers and the communities around them. I wanted to leave you with the words of Somaya from Herat in Afghanistan, who is a leader of the 5-member Afghan Dreamers Girls Robotics team. This group of dreamers designs various inventions for international competitions and is supported by multiple partners, including their communities and families and friends, but also by UNICEF as part of an adolescent and youth engagement program. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I'm really looking forward to hearing from people around the globe who are participating in this exciting event on what they are doing and what their experiences and solutions are. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Singh. I appreciate that, those global stories about girls' empowerment, but not only their empowerment for the next generation, but their ability to contribute to society right now. And that's important. Our next guest, Dr. Sakina Yakubi, she doesn't remember me, but we had a nice conversation at the Parliament in Toronto. She's the CEO of the Afghan Institute of Learning, an organization she founded in 1995 in response to the lack of education and healthcare that the Afghan people faced after decades of war and strife. She is also the co-founder and president of Creating Hope International, Dr. Yakubi has established 352 learning centers, 4 schools, a hospital, and a radio station in Afghanistan, and is the recipient of 6 honorary doctorates, including from Princeton University. She is a respected expert and speaker, especially on the subjects of girls' education, life in Afghanistan, health, refugees, and women's empowerment. Welcome, Dr. Yakubi. The floor is yours.
Dr. Yakubi, you're on mute.
I'm okay now.
Yes.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. First of all, it's a great honor to join such a wonderful group of people who are expert in the area of really reaching out for the unreachable. Just that's the way I put this my view of. Yes, empowering education, empowering girls is the most important things that we all are really look up to it, and we should. I just want to today share with you what I have seen on the ground and what Aol is doing. As you all know, Aol is a non-profit organization and the largest women organization in Afghanistan. Our objective is to really work in area of education and health. And why we are working in area of education and health? Because we believe that women and girls in these two areas, if they are really supported and if they are encouraged and if they are inspired, they will even eradicate the poverty and they eradicate the war. Afghanistan has been a country that have been for decades through the war. It's still right as minute I'm talking right now to you, there is war inside Afghanistan. Every day there is the issue that people are being dying, people are being bombed, people are being suicidal, people are being kidnapped, people are being threatened. Why I want to share with you, especially this time of crisis, I call it the time of crisis, that we all go through. Every nation has suffered, but the nation who are in developing country, in the nation who are in conflict, they have suffered the most. Who suffered the most? Women and girls are suffered the most. Let me share with you that since COVID-19 started, our program have been on the line, in front line. We are not humanitarian to just provide services as a humanitarian, but believe me, since day one, we start delivering food, delivering sanitization, delivering door-to-door emergency situation for people, emergency package to the people, because we saw such a great need. It is very sad. It is very sad that what's happening to the women and girls. Already they had problem. Already they were not equal. Already they have been less than half of the population that were count, and they were not even count as a half of the population. But what happened with SDG and with global goal, we try to rise up this issue to really reach out for the girls and the women. But what happened to the pandemic? Once we announced the lockdown, it was nightmare. It was nightmare because the violence increased in Afghanistan, double and triple. Violence against women. Men are without job. Men were line workers. They are at home. Now what happened? They are abusing women. They are frustrated. They are upset. They are mentally sick, and they are abusing women. Children are at home. Children are not going to school, and the children just being abused. Why? Because the parents push them out on the street. They don't have no patient to work with them mentally. They have no patient to help them. As a matter of fact, they are not even participating in helping them with their homework. They just shove them in the street, go find something to be eat. So this has been a nightmare for us. And we really believe empowering women, empowering girls is the key issue to overcome the crisis, overcome any emergency situation, overcome poverty, and overcome war. As a result, AOL created a several programs during this pandemic. And one way I could tell you that pandemic make our life horrible. In another way, pandemic is push us that we become more active in area of innovation, creativity. And we try to really create a method that we can reach out for those children that who are at home, who have no way of going to school, those children who have no technology at all. You know, Afghanistan is one of those countries that technology is not that much advanced. Yes, they show the girls that were doing the robot, which is a lot of our students involved in that. But these are few special top girls in the school that they do. Everybody doesn't have internet, everybody doesn't have a smartphone, and everybody doesn't have electricity. So as a result, these children are suffering. So we have to rush and try to really develop a curriculum that it will provide education for our children, because as you know, it has been 26 years that I am working with my colleagues in this area of education. And it is so sad. It is heartbreaking to see that what's happening during this time. Children are without education, they are losing it. They are losing by hundreds, because it was just about the time that we inspire them in classroom. All of a sudden they are at home, they are in the street, they are being abused, so they are losing everything they had. So what happened, AOL started to create a methodology that we can help these children. One is we start developing a distance education, giving this material to the parents who have a smartphone to use it. Another way of preparing packages to go to the houses, to the family, that the children can sit down and do their homework. And the third one, we set up a hotline that the children, which is majority of them, who doesn't have a family to help them because the family are not capable, or the family are frustrated, or the family are not educated. So the children come with their homework to the school. We set up a hotline, and we, in that hotline, we have the teacher around the clock sitting in the classroom and having these students one by one and go and get assistance for their homework. That is one thing that we did, and right the way we start this, because I really believe that I have to reach these children. We have to reach these children. If we don't reach, who is going to reach these children? This was one issue. The second thing that we, thank God, we have a radio program. Radio Mirage has been working double shift by providing knowledge about the COVID-19, providing a advertise how to do hand wash, and also providing sort of addresses we have to go get help. And the third thing that AOL did also, develop a mass production. We picked up all our tailors from different centers. You know, we have 352 centers. From every center, we pick up all our tailors and brought them in one big auditorium. Because when we asked to put the mask in use, nobody has the mask. And the mask, which was 50 rupee, all of a sudden 500 rupee. People could not afford to buy a mask, and also a shortage of masks. So as a result, AOL tried to do mass production on masks. And what happened, we delivered this mask door to door, to the street, to the children, to hospital, to clinic, everywhere. And so still our people are sitting and sewing masks and delivering to different places. So this was the things that AOL has done. And I am so proud of our staff. They have been in front of us. Sometimes I said to them, be careful, and they cry. And they told me, I work with them night and day with the Afghanistan during the night. They said, Ustad, you don't see what's going on. You are in US. When we go door to door, when they deliver the food, they couldn't deliver on the street. First, I told them that, okay, take the truck and deliver. The people pour into them. They could not deliver it. So they have to go door to door, deliver the food. They produce the food, they did cook food, and they also provided dry food and to door to try. because this is the task of a government, but you know what's happening to my country. I don't have to speak. My issue is that I think that the leadership is so important. The leadership is so important. And what kind of leadership? Woman leadership. I really believe that woman has a spot in their heart that they really try to do the best, no matter for them doesn't make difference if they are on the front line, if their life is in this, they do whatever they could to try to help. And that is empowering women. Those women, when they have a self-confidence, when they have a dignity, when they feel good that they are reaching some children, when they see that, oh God, my child, if it was that, what will I do it? They run non-stop. And I see that with my own eyes. And I want to tell the world that please watch. This is the time that we really need to come together, share together, love, compassion, wisdom, and believing in God really is a pillar that it gives us strength and help us to really go about our work. If we don't have that faith, if we are not strong in our faith, if we don't have that wisdom, if we don't have that heart, we could not do it. One of the concepts that AOL constantly integrate into our curriculum is peace. Peace, because we believe that when you are peaceful, when you are healthy, when you are educated, when you have a knowledge of who is above that is really help you, you really will be very successful. And that is, I don't see I'm a fanatic religious person, I'm a spiritual person. And that has been my mandate to try to side by side with education, with health, into the center, into the classroom, try to help the people to see, look at, focus why you are here. God created us to be equal. Why the difference for women? Why women equality is not important? Why women is not in the political arena? Right now, AOL has one special program that we handpick up the most intelligent, the top women who have graduated from university, and we bring them back to a program for 9 months. They are in the program, in the classroom, and we empower them in area of democracy, good citizenship, rule of law, and leadership and management. The reason we do that, and when they graduate, we integrate them into the government position, and they go into the government position and they be hired. And that way we could help the country to have a better leader, to have a better people who are not corrupted, to have a people who have a heart, to have a people who have a knowledge of how to work with people, what people need, how to provide service. These people really, it's sometimes it is for me, I just feel like, why you are in that position, why you are in that chair, holding that chair and just not doing what you're supposed to do, have no dedication, no responsibility. But when you teach a girl, when you teach a woman, this kind of education, they are dedicated, they are responsible, they are really go out of their way to try to help. So I could say and stay and talk about AOL as much as I could. Still, I didn't reach one little point. Just to tell you about our clinic. Our clinic, everybody closed up their program. We didn't close up. Why? Because we couldn't. First of all, we have about 6 clinics in one hospital. Our 6th clinic was non-stop running around the clock, 24 hours, because we provide services for women, for children, for the public, and try to do a corona test. And also, we try to set up a center that people could come. During this time, community help us. You know, AOL has a special relationship with community everywhere that we go. As soon as we saw that the situation is so bad, we went to the community, we said, you give us a place that we can set up a center for testing corona. And they gave it to us, huge place. And then we furnished that, we put bed, we put blanket, we provide mask and sanitation, and people come and do tests and that. So AOL is really hire more people during Corona than any time else, because we have to have more doctors, more nurses to really provide the service. And also our centers are being open by delivering the food, by doing the sewing, by doing all kinds of things. Although it's supposed to be a lockdown time, but we put masks, we put gloves, and we were on the road. So that is AOL has done. And I want to share this with you that AOL really is running like 4 ministries right now in Afghanistan. We reach thousands and thousands of people, and still we are in one little corner. Still we are not doing what we're supposed to do because lack of funding, because this area needs more funding, and we were not prepared for this. It hits us like it hits every nation, but we were not prepared for this. We didn't have a budget for that, and we just, believe me, I come to the office 8 in the morning, and at 6:30, I'm not moving out of here, because constantly we are trying to really reach out how we can support, how we can do the things that we have to do, that people on the road, they are dying. In Afghanistan, poverty, I just want the world knows that. Afghanistan poverty, don't look at for those all luxury, all those things that you see in Afghanistan. Afghanistan, the population, the normal people of Afghanistan are suffering. They don't have any way to get their head. The woman doesn't have their voice. That's the reason I am talking in behalf of the women and children of Afghanistan. Do not forget Afghanistan. Afghanistan, every nation needs help in this crisis, but Afghanistan needs the most. God bless all of you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. These days, I am not that much on the podium, and this was a great opportunity. And I really thank the World Religion, the Parliament of World Religion, that gave me this platform, that I be able to, on behalf of those voiceless, be able to talk, that people go on our website, go see what we are doing. It is not just, I couldn't present by showing you slide, because which slide I show, there is so much that I could not pick up 1 or 2 projects to show it to you. And I really appreciate UNICEF work. I appreciate Parliament of Religion. I appreciate Zanta. I appreciate every one of those wonderful international organizations who are reaching for the people in every nation. But also, leadership is so important. To have a good leader, to feel the public, that is the most important. And if we want that kind of leader, we must pursue with education for girls, empowering girls and women. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We've appreciated having you and all the work you've been doing, and it doesn't stop because the pandemic comes. It must continue, and you that's what you have done. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our next guest is Tanya Islam, chapter head of Green Hope Bangladesh, with a master's degree in peace, world religions, and conflict resolution. Ms. Islam has been working tirelessly on the ground with women and girls in the slums and villages of Bangladesh. She has been focusing on educating girls and women about health, hygiene, and sanitation, and how to protect themselves from sexual assault as part of Green Hope's work on education for sustainable development. Tanya, you have the floor. Welcome.
Thank you, Carl. My name is Tanya Islam, and I am the chapter head of Green Hope Bangladesh. I will share my slides. Green Hope Foundation is Green Hope Foundation is a global social innovation enterprise that works in 16 countries, using education for sustainable development to educate and empower children and young people worldwide. Our main focus is to help the children in the vulnerable communities so that they are equipped with the skills and knowledge to take local actions to protect the planet, have sustainable livelihoods, and lead a life of dignity. In Bangladesh, Green Hope Foundation works mainly with the women and children in the slums, as well as in the villages. The children in the slums do not go to school. Their mothers usually work as domestic help, and their fathers work in the construction sites. The children are left behind at home with absolutely no access to education. This is especially prevalent during the COVID-19 pandemic. Most of the time, the children, especially the girls, face the threat of sexual abuse from boys and older men in the neighborhood. Their daily survival is a challenge. The girls also face the risk of being kidnapped. So, Green Hope Foundation provides education to these girls who, like any other child in the developed world, have dreams of becoming a teacher or a doctor or an engineer someday. We impart formal education, teaching them not only how to read and write, but also how to keep their surroundings clean, themselves clean, and how to protect themselves from sexual violence. Many a times, these children narrate stories from their personal experiences, and through discussions, they come up with solutions on how they can protect themselves. Art is a wonderful way to help them express their ideas. Many of these girls are not willing to talk. Sometimes they are too traumatized or too scared to speak out. So, art helps them to break that barrier. We distribute books, stationery items, art supplies, and sanitation kits to the girls. The sanitation kits not only include masks, sanitizers, and gloves, but also sanitary napkins. We teach them about the importance of using sanitary napkins because in many families, using them is considered a taboo. The lack of basic hygiene is rampant, especially for girls. The deplorable conditions in which their lives are unimaginable. Armed with the information they receive in these workshops, they impart the same knowledge to their parents, siblings, extended family, friends, and neighbors. We started with just 10 girls, and now we have so many more who attended our classes on a regular basis. While educating the girls, we realized that their mothers cannot be left behind if we want to achieve gender equality. So we simultaneously conduct workshops for their mothers as well teaching them how to keep their families safe and how to protect their children from domestic abuse, sexual predators, and street harassment. Apart from conducting workshops for the girls, we regularly conduct cleanups and tree planting sessions as part of their education, and they are extremely enthusiastic about these activities. Food wastage is a huge problem in Bangladesh, and we teach the children about how they can reduce food wastage in their communities, as some families don't get 1 square meal a day. Green Hope also distributes food rations to the very needy families in the slums, especially during the pandemic. In the villages of Bangladesh, we conduct similar workshops for hundreds of girls. We face threats in the form of exploitation and trafficking. Most of their mothers and siblings also participate in our workshops, and we have realized that we have been able to educate hundreds of families through these workshops of ours for girls. After we conduct the workshops for the girls, we appoint leaders who then take the work forward. These girls have planted hundreds of trees as part of these workshops, as they have learned about the importance of tree planting, not just for protecting the land, but also as a source of food, medicine, and shade. So we plant indigenous trees such as neem, mango, lemon, and mahogany. explaining to them why they need to plant the native trees. In these villages, many girls are married off by the age of 10 or 11. Some of them have children by the time they are 13 or 14. Now, I shall show you a video of one of such girls in the village. কি হয় তোমার ছেলে ও আচ্ছা আচ্ছা তোমার নাম কি ঝর্ণা আচ্ছা তোমার বয়স কত 13 বছর তোমার বিয়ে হয়েছে কবে 3 বছর হয়েছে ওহো কৃষি করে আচ্ছা আচ্ছা তোমরা কয় ভাই বোন 5 ভাই সবাই কি বিয়ে হয়ে গেছে 3 দিনের বিয়ে হয়ে গেছে আর ভাইরা বিয়ে করেনি এখন তারা কি পড়ালেখা করছে জি না তারাও কি কৃষি কাজ করে আচ্ছা আচ্ছা তোমার বাবা মা কি করে কৃষি তারাও কৃষি কাজ করে জি আচ্ছা আচ্ছা তুমি কি স্কুলে যাও জি না স্কুলে যাও না কেন যাইতে পারি নাই সংসারে অভাব ছিল তারপরে পড়ালেখা অনেক খরচ এটা দিতে পারে না এই জন্য যাই না ও আচ্ছা আচ্ছা করো জি আচ্ছা আমার খুবই ভালো লাগে তুমি এখানে এসে কি কি শিখবা যে আপনারা অনেক অনুষ্ঠান করেন কি করলে কি হবে এগুলো আমি খুবই শিখতেছি এবং সামনে বাচ্চা বড় আছে তারে মানুষ আমি তো হতে পারিনি তারে মানুষ করার আশা আছে তারা পাইছি তাকে আমি পাখি খাচ্ছি খুবই খুশি হিসাবে আর যেগুলো হবে প্রত্যেকগুলি আসবে আমার করতে চাই আচ্ছা আচ্ছা তুমি যখন আরো বড় হবে বয়স বাড়বে তখন তুমি কি করতে চাও আমি এই জায়গায় আপনাদের অনুষ্ঠানে প্রত্যেকগুলি আসবে যে আমার বাচ্চারা দিয়ে কাজে লাগাবো বাচ্চারা মানুষ করতে ভালো হবে সব দিকে তোমাদের কি এখানে আশেপাশে স্কুল নেই না স্কুল অনেক দূরে হয়নি গেছিলাম কিছুদিন তারপরে নানান ধরনের ছেলেরা অনেক খারাপ খারাপ কথা বলে তারপরে ফ্যামিলি থেকে দিয়ে দিয়েছে মুরব্বীরা বলে যে মেয়েদের বেশি দিন ঘরে রাখতে নয় ও আচ্ছা আচ্ছা এরকম আছে তাই না তাদের উদ্দেশ্যে তারা তো খুবই করতেছে আমাদের এই জায়গায় একটা স্কুল হলে খুবই ভালো হয় বাচ্চাদের ধারে ধারে হয় সবাই মা বাবারা এই জায়গায় স্কুল হলে সন্তানরা আগ্রহী করে স্কুল দেবে খরচের যদি দেয় না যদি সরকারি যদি একটা স্কুল দেয় সরকারি যদি সব কিছু করে ফ্রি মাইন্ডে তাই সবাই মা বাপে বাচ্চাদের মানুষ করার সুযোগ পাবে এই খরচের জন্য মা বাবা বড়ায়নি চলে মোটামুটি এই নুন দিয়ে ধান দিয়ে চলে একান্তে এক পুরো So we provide sustainable sources of income to them. We distribute organic seeds of rice, red lentils, spinach, red amaranth, and okra or lady's finger, all of which are drought resistant, and so that these young girls can grow these crops along with their male counterparts. Another way we empower girls is by educating them about sustainable fishing and providing them with fish, which is an excellent source of livelihood for them. Since these villages have ponds where the fish can thrive, this becomes a source of income for the young girls. We have also distributed poultry, especially ducks, which is another sustainable source of income for the girls and women. Additionally, we have been distributing rations in the form of rice, lentils, vegetables, and cooking oil, as most of the girls' families have no source of income during the pandemic and in the recent floods. Many of them have even lost their homes. In this picture, you can also see the crops that have grown from the organic drought-resistant seeds that we gave the families. Contaminated drinking water poses a huge threat to the lives of these girls. This causes them to suffer from tooth decay, severe skin disease, stunted growth, and cancer. So the Green Hope team not only educates them on how to boil their water, but we also distribute water filters to the families of these girls. We are now in the process of providing them with a permanent source of clean drinking water. The SDGs do not mean anything to these girls, especially during times of COVID, when their parents have no sources of livelihood. But Green Hope tries to sow the seeds of hope in their minds by connecting their work to the SDGs. Their happiness and enthusiasm after each workshop or tree planting are truly inspiring. The girls in the villages and in the slums of Bangladesh face numerous challenges. If we are truly achieve a sustainable future, we cannot simply talk about empowering girls. As we believe in Green Hope, we must walk the talk. We must provide the girls with education, sanitation, clean drinking water, and above all, safe spaces to actually achieve SDG 5. Gender equality. These girls are our present and future. Let us not leave them behind. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tanya, for your inspiring work in Bangladesh. Appreciate it. So we have a little bit of time for questions. First off, did anything come to mind for any of you during the presentations that you'd like to share now? Or do you have any questions for one another or comments for one another? Okay,
I would like to ask Sakina. Sakina, it was very, very impressive as what you've been doing as well as what Tanya has been doing. But what can we as people around the world help you? Is it just finances or something else you would like?
Thank you, Dolly, for asking this question. I really believe that something that I really think that once you have a means of resource, you can share that resource and you can go long way. But once you don't have that resource, how you are going to provide it? To tell you the truth, this last few months, I personally, as a leader of this organization, I'm suffering. I am suffering trying to locate funding because, as I said, we were not prepared for this. Nobody was prepared. But also, as my sister from Bangladesh mentioned, mental issue is another problem, becomes so much. A lot of our young people are suicidal. They are going into the drug. And we see girls and boys, they are doing that because they are so depressed. They have no means of reaching something, to doing something. So my point is that we need funding. And if you can share Aol website or Aol tweet, I really appreciate. Of course, funding is the most important thing right now for us. I am embarrassed to ask that. I don't want to always just beg for money, but that's reality. That's reality. When you don't have funding, what you can do? You can talk. You can, but that is the government is doing whatever. They keep going meeting after meeting, bringing peace negotiation. Do you know how long this peace negotiation has been going on? And what we achieved so far? Nothing, except right now inside Afghanistan are being killed and violence against women and children. Child marriage become an issue right now again, back to Afghanistan, because just because of COVID-19, because of the contamination, they are selling their daughter just right and left. And that really, it hurts. It hurts to see those kids who are in the school now are pulling out of school because of COVID. Then all of a sudden the father say, oh, well, now you can go to get married because I could not support you, or there is no way to, you go to school. And things like that. So we need to go to those families. We need to really work with them mentally, emotionally, and financially. We have to work.
Yeah, the work is absolutely challenging and all-encompassing.
It is important. It is important. We cannot leave them alone. They put their hopes on us. Like, that's I wanted to share you before, that the door of Aol office is like that. People are, because Aol has a petition, because Aol had been working community after community according to the request of the community. We didn't go to say we want to provide. So we have a strong bond with the community, a strong relationship. They trust us. So they're putting in the door. And we said, please. And they said, we didn't scare of the Taliban. How we scare of Corona? Oh, let's kill us. Better is kill us. You know, that's their answer. Thank you.
You're welcome. Tanya, how can folks who are not in Bangladesh help your work?
Yeah, I agree. Funding is a huge challenge. It will help so many people in need. Give the money to the right people instead of spending it on nuclear weapons and other arms.
Is it possible to send money directly to any organization, or is it through UNICEF or through international agencies?
No, it's the Green Hope Foundation. I basically worked as a chapter head of Green Hope Bangladesh. So the main foundation is Green Hope Foundation, and our president is Kekashan Basu.
And Dolly, can I answer just this question also? I think that sending money is not the solution for them, because the money will go to the father or go to the man of the house and they do something with it. So as a result, I really believe that whatever resource we give it in area of education, health, mental health, physical health. We try to provide that for them. And that way we reach out more than we just hand out money. Because as we could see the food even, we had the same time flood in Afghanistan. Up north of Afghanistan, we had a huge flood. We lost a lot of houses, a lot of people. So we even could not give them a raw food, like dry food, like beans and rice and oil, which we were giving. But we have to cook the food and take it to them because they lost everything and they didn't have. We see talk of things coming and delivering things. They don't have a utensil, they don't have a police, they don't have nothing to cook that even. So as a result, you have to be very creative and think how you can reach these people right this moment. As we say, day-to-day live, and that is we are right now in that course right now, day-to-day, how we handle the situation.
Thank you so much. So, Kekashan, do we have a hard stop at 12 because we are at the end of our time?
No, you can go on.
So let me ask you this question, I think, and we can wrap it up. Doctors, and I'll ask this of all of you. How has your experience working with religious leaders on empowering girls? Tell us about that, since we are the Parliament of the World's Religions. Dolly, we'll start with you. What has been your experience working with religious leaders in your work?
Honestly, I don't deal with any of the things which you have been talking about. I deal more on the philosophical things or more on imparting knowledge. You know, I haven't worked hands-on with any of this, so I can't really give you any answer for that. You know, but I think I really would like to get involved in something where I can contribute with my hands. You know. So, Kekashan, if there's anything I can do to help you, I will be most happy.
Dr. Singh, how does UNICEF's work, or does it work with religious leaders at all?
Absolutely. Thank you, Carl. I mean, religious leaders and traditional leaders are a cornerstone to our communities around the world. And UNICEF does recognize them as incredibly important leaders in their communities. They have access that many institutions don't have. They have the voice and power to be able to make change. And we have worked, much like Dr. Yakubi and Tanya and others have talked about, we have worked with religious leaders in terms of understanding how we can use and work with them to really leverage gender equality and investment in girls. How do you interpret religious texts in order to promote these positive messages? What are some of the key areas of work that we could really advance? I gave you an example of working on child marriage. We see how religious leaders have made change even in FGM, female genital mutilation practices, how they've supported girls' participation in schools. There are many opportunities, and to me, I think this is such a key constituency, and UNICEF is committed to working with religious leaders and have had really good experiences with them at multiple levels, not just at the global level, but at the country and even the community level, because they're so important. I would want to mainly flag also how we can leverage female religious leaders and traditional healers and leaders to really sort of make a difference, because they are the voice and the role models that can potentially change our world as well. Thank you.
Carl, I want to just add here that I also belong to Zonta International, and through them, through UNICEF and through UN Women, we worked with the elimination of child marriages through the FMGs in Madagascar and in Mali, all those places. So I think we have a distance view of the things by supervising these projects and working with them, but not directly, I mean, not physically involved, but at a distance, you know, but we do work with all these issues which the girls and women face all over the world, you know.
Yeah. So Yakubi and Dr. Yakubi and Tanya, you might have a response for this, all of you actually. And this is our final question. So Elaine Corner, who's editor of Consultant Be Girl, asks, research has shown that girls' lack of ability to unhealthfully manage their menstrual cycles, especially in low-income countries, creates a fundamental barrier to reaching their full potential. Do you see a role for religious leaders in helping eliminate this barrier? If so, what specific actions do you propose?
May I answer this?
Sure.
First of all, yes, it is a very big issue, and God has no knowledge of it because it's a taboo. They don't talk about it in developing country. But also for a religious leader to approach this, especially as a man, also this is going to be a very hard issue, and I don't think that they will be able to do anything. But I think that what Aol did, I want to share with you that from the 4th grade, we start having a curriculum that talk about this issue, and to try to help them to understand it and teach them how to really perform their time demand that they have and how to really get help for assistance. It still is a big problem because a lot of girls going to school, they don't have a bathroom. Even they don't have a bathroom to go and to really do change or anything else. So as a result, the time that they are menstruating, they are not going even to school. So we are trying to work on that, and we are reaching, but it still is long way to go. So I really believe, again, we need education, we need knowledge to really overcome this superstitious, this kind of belief and that mentality. Have to shift the mentality completely if we want to really reach out for that. Just education. I really feel education for everything. If you really want to really improve this situation, you have to give education. You have to give knowledge of it, because a person can listen to somebody, but they go and forget about it. If you teach them about it and they know how to read about it, then they will. Yes, a lot of people are not able to read and write, but that is the reason. It's a long time. Education takes a long time, and we start from reading and writing, and then we keep going further and further. And for Dolly, I really think that you can do something with your hand if you want to do something. I really believe that we, may I talk?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay. As an organization, we don't have that much power. As an international organization, you do. As a World Religion Parliament, you do. As a UNICEF, you do. As a UN, any part of UN, you guys do. Please make sure we get publicity. we get our voice and share our voice with others, and also reaching out for us. Really, when you go to the country, I know that the UN, the USAID, everybody has to help the government. I don't say don't help the government, that is their part, but also the organization who are really reaching out and they are on the ground, look for them. Fine, there are many, many organizations also, but don't take me wrong. Many organizations have just an address. You from UNICEF already maybe find out that they have an address. Find out who is really working, who is improving life, who is really making a difference. So those organizations must be supported, because if those organizations are not supported, who is going to reach out to these people? You have that power. We don't have that power. That's
Carl, may I make a suggestion?
Dolly,
That there is a participant here who has been doing a lot of work on the ground in India. There's Armin Modi on this panel on the participants. I see her name. Maybe you could ask her to make some comments.
Okay, Tanya, can you answer the question,
Yeah.
please?
Yeah. Yes, religious leaders play a very important role in providing guidance in our daily lives at every step. Religious leaders need to dispel the taboos surrounding menstrual management. However, it also is not entirely in their hands. Menstrual management is a matter of hygiene, sanitation, education, and science. And that is exactly what it is at the Green Hope workshops globally. However, at every point, we have to respect the culture and put it forward to the women in such a way that we don't hurt their sentiments and do not clash with their religious beliefs. Civil society needs to play their role too in doing away with these myths and empower girls. Green Hope has had very positive experiences working with religious leaders, especially with the Parliament of the World's Religions. Faith-based organizations are very important in erasing taboos surrounding girls, especially since 80% of the world are religious, right? However, it is also important for civil society to step up and do their bit to create a peaceful and gender equal world. Grassroots action is absolutely crucial to achieve the SDGs and empower girls. I also wanted to add that we do not do charity. We don't just give the money to the families. We empower the women and girls through education, sanitation, and peace.
Thank you so much. So we're over time, so I think we need to bring this to a close. Any last words from our panelists that you'd like to share before I thank you all and we conclude the meeting? I would like to, before we do that, I'd like to thank Kekashan and Miriam for their help, their technical help, and always, it always takes people working in the background to make these things run as smoothly as possible. Dolly Dastoor, Sagri Singh, Sakina Yakubi, and Tanya Islam, thank you so much for participating with us. And this will be recorded and you can watch it again on Facebook, Parliament's website. Is that correct? All right, so thank you again. And it's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Stay safe.